but some in the end. Red hot or red, they be brought those who say diamonds are a girl's best friend. And when that is a lawyer, the diamond are a best friend. I come to tell you things here all night. But get that I don't ever no die. He's your guy when stocks are high. But beware when they start to descend. It's then that those louds go back to the fountain. Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
When I say that there is no life in this performance, I mean that. This is purely performance. This is purely her performing off of what she knows, off of how she knows to perform. I don't think there's any legitimate emotion in this.
People I like, but nothing scares me like mobs scare me. But people, that's something you can trust.
And it's just men. It's only men. Like, how does she feel about her presence with women? Because essentially, I can get the men to pay attention to me and like me and cheer for me, but can I get the same energy for the women? Number one. Number two, what's the kind of energy that I'm getting from men? Do I like it or do I not? That's what I gotta know.
Coming out of my apartment in New York, 57th Street, when I come out of the door, they say, Marilyn, hi, how do you feel this morning? To me, it's an honor. I first came with it because, they think, oh, the girl, she's got blonde hair, she's not out of shape. And then they do, my God, it's Marilyn Monroe. And I think that sexuality is only in New York, 57th Street. When I come out of the door, they say, Marilyn, hi, how do you feel this morning? To me, it's an honor. I first came with it because, they think, oh, the girl, she's got blonde hair, she's not out of shape. And then they do, my God, it's Marilyn Monroe.
She hears everything.
That sexuality is only attractive when it's natural.
Even when she plays like she can't hear everything, she hears everything. She hears every single comment, and she takes every single comment personally. And she knows the difference between two situations where you're excited to see me or whether you're not excited to see me. And she takes that to heart, whether it's right or not, whether it's just her perception and her internalizing that, she takes that stuff to heart.
And spontaneous. A lot of them miss the boat. You know what I mean?
Marilyn was ambivalent about being a sex symbol and ambivalent about the press who had reinforced that image. They had delivered the audience to her, but she still didn't trust them. That's why she wanted my questions in advance and clearance of the final story. Of course, she loved the attention of the press, but she hated being mobbed by reporters and photographers every time she came out in public.
I'm just tugging on you all the time.
They are, and I don't want to sound paranoid, but they are. They all like sort of like chunk, somehow. I mean, they kind of take like pieces out of you, and I don't think that they realize it.
Where are you going from here?
Whereas I got a little time. Apparently nobody has been seriously hurt or maimed. Or is really wonderful suffering as a result of this mailing.
I didn't have any. You do want to stay intact.
Right.
Intact, on 2 feet. They want to know, well, what is it like? Sometimes it's nearly impossible. And there is a need for aloneness, which I don't think that most people realize for a creative person or an actress. It's almost having certain kind of secrets for yourself that you'll let the whole world in on. But there has to be those moments of privacy. I used to laugh so loud and so gay. I would ask the boys, I said, can I ride your bicycle now? They said, sure. And then I'd go zooming and I'd start to laugh in the wind, riding down the block, laughing,
Doing that to you're doing that to try to force happiness, to try to force laughter, to try to force control over something maybe that you don't necessarily have control of. You can't get the press to stop overcrowding or exhausting you. But I'm wondering if the press is a shade for something else, because it's like there's one thing to just be like, man, the press gets on my nerves. Stay inside. I stay inside until I have to do anything else, right? Or I stay away. That's what I feel like. That's what Beyonce does. She just stays inside, or she stays off of social media until she has to, push something or promote something. She stays inside until she has to push something or promote something. Marilyn, you could have stayed inside, but what is it about your love-hate relationship with the press that kept making you come outside? And do we think that we need to really start to I guess in some ways politicize the involvement of the press in people's lives for mental health sake? Is that something that we need to do? We need to regulate the involvement of the press in people's lives a little bit tighter to sort of prevent being overwhelmed in these cases and being treated as if you feel like you're not a real human being, you're more of an object.
But I love the wind because it felt like it caressed me.
Marilyn only got a couple of phone calls during the entire interview. And once when the phone rang, Marilyn told her housekeeper, if it's an Italian, tell him I'm not here. I believed she was referring to Joe DiMaggio. Marilyn had 3 marriages, but all were failures. She didn't even want me to mention her first marriage at age 16 to a sailor.
Well, I have to explain to you, I was never used to being happy. So that wasn't something I was sort of counting on. I think I counted on the kids in marriage. I was very young, and I used to love to play house. You could pretend. You could say, hey, what about if you were such and such, and if I were such and such, and they'd think, oh, yeah. And it was like, you could make your own boundaries.
Did he see you off in Hollywood last night? Oh, yeah. Do you expect to return with him to the World Series?
I wish I could, but I'll be finishing this picture when
The World Series.
Miss Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio are presently having domestic difficulties. All I can say as her attorney is that, Freddie, this is what we would say with the conflict of career.
Sometimes gee, sometimes I think I'm pruning somebody. I don't know who. Maybe myself. Maybe others.
Mr. Miller, why did you file application for passport? I want to get her attorney is that Freddie, this is what we would say with the conflict of career.
Sometimes I
Why does it have to be all of this? Nowadays, people just announce the divorce and it goes all over TMZ, and really it's really like TMZ gets the story and they announce it, and I almost think that it's easier for the stars to just give the story to TMZ and let TMZ announce it when they divorce, and let the dust, settle before they actually start coming outside again, settle at least a little bit. But here, my God, like she's standing on a podium, you know, announcing it to the world, clearly broken. And it's like having to fight through a multitude of people in your brokenness, and you're like getting banged and hit and beat up emotionally and almost physically, just trying to announce that you and your spouse are no longer together. And as you're thinking about this, you're receiving responses of, oh, was it you? Was it something that you did? I could imagine. I don't hear it, but there's all these things, because she's a thinker. She goes in her head about this stuff. So I'm just wondering, like, what kind of damage this did to her. So now I'm having to try to think about, dang, I can't mess up again. I have to perform. I perform well on screen, and now I have to perform here for my marriage. And that can be very, very, very unhealthy.
sometimes I think I'm pruning somebody. I don't know who. Maybe myself. Maybe others.
Mr. Miller, why did you file application for passport? I want to go to England. For what reason? You guess. We'd like you to. I wanted to be with the woman who is going to be my wife. You mean Marilyn Monroe? That's correct.
When are you planning to have some children? I'm not married yet, dear.
What does?
Hey, on. Come on, Arthur. Come on, Arthur. You got it. No, you didn't. Come on, Arthur. Anyway, you see why I couldn't have just been a housewife. I've had too many fantasies. I have feelings sometimes. Or some days when there are certain things that, I think, oh, if only I were a cleaning woman
No,
on the way to the studio, see somebody cleaning her. I think, oh, that's what I'd like to be.
no. Guys, come on. Come on. A cleaning lady? Come on. You don't want that. What you're saying is, and I think people have to be sure or certain that I don't want to be a cleaning lady. If I wanted to be a cleaning lady, I would have been one. Come on. Let's be serious. What you're really looking to say is, man, I really miss this simple life when I was just doing whatever. But also, too, I think people forget about what they wanted when they had the simple life. And you say, oh man, I wish I were to go back to the simple life. Do you? Do you wish you would have gone back to the simple life? I don't think you would like it. I think that, there's so many ways that you can exit or get off the map, fly to Puerto Rico or go to Mexico or whatever you do, and just live off the grid where nobody knows where you are. You know what I mean? But and not to say that, nobody knows who she is down there, but the way in which you go down there, you exit or whatever, just to get out of the spotlight. But I think you sort of misrepresent how you would feel. I think that you would get there and you would feel empty. I think acting and singing and creating is your calling. It's just that maybe you weren't able to navigate it in the way that you wanted to successfully navigate it is the problem.